What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting these possibilities for you to consider, enabling you to come up with your own conclusions. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow decoders around the world, wherever you may be. My name is Logan. I'm going to be your tour guide for this presentation. A very fun and exciting and enlightening presentation on the topic Theological Matrix. What does that mean? Where did the Matrix word come from? Well, I'm going to regurgitate where I found it from, which is from the Old Testament in a book called Exodus, the second book of the Bible, the second book of the Torah. Two meaning binary, two meaning bet. It's not the alpha, it's the bet. It's the binary. It's the beta. Going into the matrix, and the matrix is a word for womb. Womb is the word in Hebrew that gets converted into the word matrix. Theological matrix decoded. So ladies and gentlemen, let's begin with this presentation. And we're going to start here. Now this is the English version, just so we can get a kind of a bird's eye view of what this says. And read it with me, shall you? It says, that thou shalt set apart unto the Lord all that openeth the matrix, and every firstling that cometh of a beast which thou hast, the male. The big keyword here is, or the big keywords here is, the males shall be the Lord's. That's the big keyword. And of course, this has everything to do with bringing the people out of the land of Egypt and the Israelites and all that stuff. But there's deeper meanings to this because this is allegorical. And we're going to reference this as we go through this presentation right here. So here's kind of like an overview of what that just means here. And if you follow along, it says that the phrase, the males shall be the Lord's, refers to the commandment that all firstborn males of both humans and animals in Israel are to be dedicated or consecrated to God. So this requirement comes after the Israelites' deliverance from Egypt, where the firstborn of the Egyptians were killed, but the Israelite firstborn were spared. And so that's the story in the Old Testament. But this is the very first time that the word womb, matrix, was mentioned. Okay, right here. The very first time. And it's always got multiple meanings here. And the reason why I have this image alluding to the fact that angels or spirits going down into the hole to play the game. And of course, this is the womb for the woman. Every child that gets born into this world, male now, right? Now you're talking about male and the sons of God, and those are the Nephilim and the fallen angels, right? And we're going to talk about that as we move through this presentation. So I have another decode that's going to be coming out that's a complement to this one, and the title is called Fallen. And I did the very best I could on providing you with an image of how I feel this just may work. I really feel that we live inside of some kind of computer system, and I wanted to have the AI draft up an angel going down into the hole. And a lot of these movies have alluded to the fact that that's the way this works, Tron being one of them. Now, I'm not saying these are the authority on how this reality works, but we've made computers, and now we're going down into the hole of the computer ourselves when we turn on the phone, and we're giving our attention to the computer. So The fallen angel story is simply the males having their eyes on the females, the earthly females, and wanting to mate and make wives with them. And that's the story of the fallen, in that they have to go through the matrix, they have to go through the womb, and they have babies, and that's the womb and the matrix. So this is a very important decode that I have coming out beyond this one here. So here are the topics for this presentation. There are just 3. Number 1, door. Number 2, womb. And number 3, 25 cents. The quarter. I'm going to show you how all this is related to this story in the most popular spell book in the entire world, the Holy Bible. So let's get into the first topic now. It's called door. And here's the door right there. The doorway to get into this reality based upon the spirit going into matter. Okay, so I'm going to start off with, and I'm going to measure against the very first time the word matrix/womb was mentioned in the Torah, in the second book of the Torah, Exodus. Right? A mass exodus. Ex meaning leaving. Right? And it's Exodus 13 verses 12. And here is the total numerology for this scripture in Hebrew. And he gives us a total of 562. So we're going to measure with this, right? We're going to measure with this. Keeping in the back of your mind, this is the very first time that this womb was talked about. Beyond giving to the Lord and consecrating to the Lord the first males and all that stuff. Okay? Beyond that. So here we're going to get into the nitty gritty and break it down to show you how magical this is, honestly. And the root of the 562, meaning the numbers that these 562 add up to, become the number 4. 5 plus 6 is 11. 11 plus 2 is 13. 1 plus 3 is 4. 13 is the death card, right? And the spirit has to die to become a human being. It has to die a spiritual death to make the trek down here to become an avatar. That's why it says right here, it says that thou shalt set apart unto the Lord all that open the matrix. Right? The womb. And there's a cosmic womb. That's the portal to get in here. And it just so happens that it has a root of the 4. Remember that the 4th letter is the letter D, as in door, as in dream. Right? As in Daleth, as in what's the letter in Greek? Not Daleth, but wow, I can't even think of it. Delta. Delta. And delta is it's a frequency when you sleep. You're in delta, sleeping. So this references being in a dream. We're in a dream. The cosmos is having a dream. It's not real, but we observe it as a real thing. So that's just the subtleties that we see with the number 4, the root of the 562. But we can see that when we go a little bit deeper to get more of the picture, we can see that the word male, because male's the big standout, that all the firstborn, the males, are going to be owned by the Lord. And that's 38. And you could see that the 4th letter in Hebrew, when you spell it out, Daleth, is going to give us that same exact number outcome, the 38. And remember, the root of the 38 is the 2, and the 2 is the binary. The 2 is the bet, not the alpha, but the bet. This is why the Torah starts off with bear shit. It starts off with the bet, not alpha. In the beginning is bear shit, which is bet. Duality. In the beginning, it was duality was created. Going through the doorway. Okay? And we go a little bit further here, ladies and gentlemen, and you can see that this is a big humdinger for the connection to that 38, tying to the word male, that go through the matrix, talking about the fallen angel story, and they have to go into the doorway, the Daleth, and the dream, and the delta state. And this is the Hebrew word for the Yahweh, but it is a possession. It's for Yahweh. This is for you to use. This is for God, for the Lord. It's for Yahweh. And here it is right at the very end, right? The males shall be for Yahweh. And the males are the ones that are the fallen angels that wanted to go mate with the women on earth. Are you seeing this now, right? The 38. And when you get the tarot into this, you now have the clarification. It doesn't get any more clear than this. And now you have the 38th card in the tarot. It's the Two of Cups. And the Two of Cups is a partnership energy. Remembering that if you paid attention to the Jesus-Lucifer scandal, well, Yeshua and Halil, they both reduce down to the 3 and 8. Yeshua gets the 8, Halil gets the 3. It's a partnership. Double helix in Greek is 38. 38 is the I am through the golden ratio, if you've been paying attention with that. The 38. 38 is reducing down to the number 2. 2 is duality. 2. And this is a partnership. So again, this is why I feel this scripture has alluded to saying that it shall be the Lord's, right? The firstborn males, both human and animals, are dedicated to God for Yahweh. That's why that's there. And you can see how tight this is. All in Hebrew, not even moving into a different language. They're all reducing down to the number 2. And 2 is possession. And now of a partnership, which is what alludes to Genesis 6 verses 3, where it says, my spirit shall not reside in man forever, for his days shall be numbered 120 years. And that, of course, ties to antimony and the all-seeing eye in your brain. But we continue to go into this 38 and we get into chemistry. And there's a big clue with this. This is the 38th element called strontium. The abbreviation of strontium, we have the S, which is the 19th letter. We have the R, which is the 18th letter. 19 and 18 is tied to the sun and the moon. Of course, these are tied to the portal as well. But you can see that the icon chosen for this element is a nuclear explosion. And boom, you open up the matrix, it's an explosion. Remember that when you have sex with somebody, you have an orgasm to make a baby so that baby can come out through the womb. There's an orgasm with an explosion. The orgasm is the explosion, causing an opening of the door, and then the sperm comes out to go fertilize the egg, and then now the firstborn come out, right? How all this stuff fits together. And this is isotope 88. 88 as in time travel. Yeah, so when you open the matrix as a spirit, you go down into this game called life, earth, reality, matter. You have to time travel, right? You got to go into the dream. And when you look at this element, strontium, right here, I'm going to go to it. You can see the clues here. The melting point is the 777. There's the jackpot. So think about what we're talking about here, that the firstborn that open up the matrix and everything being owned by the Lord that opened the matrix up, meaning that if you have a child, now I know it specifies the male, right? But does it just stop there? And of course, this is why the male is first. Adam is first. So it doesn't matter. Remembering that the male has to mate with the female. But you can see that it's the 777. Here's pi right there on the Fahrenheit conversion. There's a lot of clues with this, but coming down to the oxidation states and isotopes to get more of the clue, we come down to this element, isotope 88, which is its most abundant, right? 82.58%. Well, the clue is right there. It's 82. 82 is lead. 82, folks, this is the subtleties. This is as a decoder, you observe all these numbers. This is how I feel the code works. It's all working as a unit, and 82 is the element lead. So this lead means matter. 82.58. And I'm going to get into the 58 in just a little bit, because that has everything to do with the sons of God, the fallen angel story. Okay, so that's what that means right there. So going into the verse one more time, measuring it and now setting it into the golden ratio. The golden ratio and the measurement of these numbers against it provides so many clues. The 562, when you plug it into the golden ratio, occupies digit 407, 408, and 409. He even occupies 410 because 407 through 409 is not including the 1 point. I've already explained that there's two ways to look at the golden ratio and the pi sequence and square roots, to include the number before the decimal and not to include it. But the 407 clearly is a big marker number, as is the 409, because of the fact that the 409 is a prime number. And it's not just any prime number, ladies and gentlemen. It's the 80th prime number. And we go right back to the language of Hebrew. And we get a very crystal clear layer that emerges. And now we have the tree of life. And the tree of life, of course, is tied to you and me. You are the tree. Your body is the tree. You're the tree of life. That's what this whole thing means right here. And now you can see that the 562, which is the original Hebrew numerology for this Exodus 13 verses 12, through the string of the golden ratio, ties right to the tree of freaking life. How about that? It's amazing. And now you get the Lord being controlling over all this environment that we live in through the context of this allegorical story. Okay? So, what does it mean when we go deeper here? Well, consider that the sons of God, when you say the sons of God, it's an exact match to scripted reality. Now, this is not the first time I've shown this, but the 8 of spades is my birth card. And this means that I am the guy to tell you about the sons of God and how this code fits all together. I'm not going to be the only person doing that. I'm not the only person doing that, but I'm one of the people that is designed to tell you all of this, because my February 4th birth card, remember, I'm born on the 4th. 4 is Daleth. 4 is the doorway. 4 is the 4 blood types. And I have the 8 of spades, and 8 is the prison. This is the 8 of swords, stuck inside the prison. Now, I say the sons of God being 47 because when we go back up to this, you just drop the 0. And the 562 is connected to the 47. The 0 means an infinite potential. The tree of life is infinite potential. It never stops. The game meaning, right? And it's scripted. We live in a scripted reality. And the element that gives it away completely is the element silver. And that's because silver is the word that's used in Hollywood when you're on the silver screen. See, so the sons of God, the fallen ones, they decided to come down and make wives for themselves. And when they did that, they were now on television. Now you're playing out a reality television show and you're trapped. And maybe, just maybe, if this is the way it works, those that came down to play the game can't get out. And they're trapped. Now, I had a video, I've done a decode on Trapped. I didn't get a lot of traction. Trapped, Decoded, you may want to check it out if you haven't watched it, because it offered a lot of insight into all of this. Okay? So there's the connection between those two. Now, when we reduce this down, when we take this whole entire verse, we know it's 562, but when we reduce it all the way down to single digits, another huge layer of truth emerges, and that is the number 58. Now, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that the 8 of spades is the 47th card in the deck, tied to the sons of God, but it's also the 58th card in the tarot. If I go to the tarot and we get the picture, there it is. The 8 of spades becomes the 8 of swords. And this is trapped and limited. Okay? You will positively die, trapped and limited. You'll face this. Okay? And when you go to this slide right here, now this is part of the fallen story. This is using the first reference in Genesis 6 verses 2 about the sons of God seeing the daughters of men, looking down into the portal, seeing the daughters of men and how beautiful they were, and having the lust and desire to go and become a human being, to become mortal, and to then have offspring with these females and taking whoever they want. And, ladies and gentlemen, this technique that, again, I'm not taking credit for this. This is something that I was shown through the voice in my head. But the name that's been given to this is called God, Numerology. And it's simply just looking at the verse in question. In this case, it's Genesis 6 verses 2. And then adding up all the verses that lead up to that. So here are the first 5 books of Genesis, and each chapter with how many verses they have. Genesis 1:31, Genesis 2:25, Genesis 3:24, Genesis 4:26, and Genesis 5:32. And then you add on the 2, because it's 6 verses 2, and you add them all up and you get 140. And drop the 0 and you get 14, and 14 is time, stuck in time, right? And the 140, when you use chemistry to bridge the gap, you get this element called cerium. Cerium comes from the word Ceres, which is an asteroid. So the 140 is the isotope for cerium, and there's the protons. The protons meaning light, right? The nucleus from the photon. Spirit wanting to become matter, it has to become the 58. It comes down, merges with the neutrons, and now it becomes a 140. The 58, ladies and gentlemen, for all of this, is tied to the 8 of Swords. This is card 58. That's what all this stuff means here. So the total numerology for Exodus 13 verses 12, where it first mentions opening the matrix, is tied to the theonumerology of the first time that it mentions the sons of God coming down into the matrix to mate with and marry the women and have kids with them. Absolutely mind-blowing this is. And so the big question here with this big clue is cerium is Ceres, and the question is that are the minor planets, Pluto, Eris, Ceres, are they the sons of God? Remember, these are the minor planets, not the major ones. They're called the dwarf planets. Pluto being a dwarf planet. Are the minor planets the sons of God? Just maybe that may be the case. Okay? The teenagers, right? The young adults. The foolish ones. I mean, think back when you were growing up as a kid. You were probably somebody who thought you knew everything. And you had all these things. I got it all figured out. I'm going to do it. I'm going to become rebellious, and I'm going to become an outlaw, and I'm going to do. And this is what this talks about. Well, when you convert it into the minor planets, asteroids, trans-Neptunian objects, dwarf planets, Pluto, underworld, Ceres, the goddess of agriculture, it starts to really make sense with this. Okay? And the reduction of this Exodus 13 verses 12, where it says that the Lord will be the owner of all the firstborn males, the males being the sons of God. The sons of God being trapped and limited. Because when they come into this reality, they play the movie. They become part of a screenplay, not having a say in it, and they become trapped. And the 8 is the big takeaway, because the 8 is the infinity symbol. And you can't get out of the number 8. There's no break in the number 8. Right? There's breaks in the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. There's no break in the number 8. There's no break in the number 0. And the 8 and the 0, if I go back up here, is the tree of life. Do you see a break? You could take your pen, and I can make the number 8 and never have to pick my pen up off the paper. And I can do the same thing with the 0. There is no break in these two numbers. Out of all the numbers, 0 through 9, the 8 and the 0 are the only two that do not have a break in them. Is that some kind of significance? Well, I would think so. And is this alluding to the fact that you never get out of this game? You never get out of this movie. You just trade and exchange and become a different character. Maybe, just maybe that's the case. 108, the most abundant isotope for silver, being on the silver screen. If you multiply that by 2, you get the divine triangle, 216. If you multiply that again, you get 432, and that's a big number in the hertz frequency, 432 hertz. These are big humdinger numbers here, folks. I'm trying to spend some time on this because this is how I see it. This is the narration I'm supposed to give to all of you. And the 58 is a big, big, big marker. Remember, Puppet Master is 58. The Lord is going to be the owner of the firstborn. 58 is Puppet Master. Kind of gone over that already. So let's move into the next topic. Are we having fun yet? Let's get into this next topic now, which is going to be the womb, which is what this is, right? To open up the matrix. And when you do the numerology of the word in Hebrew, where it originated from the Torah, you can see the big reveal here, and that having the same numerology as the word Elohim. And this is where the Elohim are and I believe, my truth is that the Elohim are the sons of God. Okay? They're the sons of God that create, and this is tying to the Anunnaki and their Lord being Anu being, the El. And you just continue on down these cultures with different names of deities, but let us make man in our image and in our likeness. There is no singularity in that. And that's Genesis 1 verses 26. The El, the Alpha. You see, these words in Hebrew, when you know how to read the letters, and I'm not like a master at this. I'm a beginner at this. But what I can tell you is that the El is the Alpha, the Aleph, which means the predator, and then Lamed is a possession aspect, 4, and then the Hey, which is the screen to look through, and then the Yod, which is the joystick and the controller, and then the last word, or the last letter of this word, is the Mem, which is one of the 3 mother letters of the Hebrew language. This word has 2 of the 3 in it. It has Aleph and Mem. The only letter it's missing is Shin, the S. That's it. It's only missing that. And it's fascinating because the word womb or matrix in Hebrew lands with the letter Mem, just like Elohim. They're a match. And this is how you say it in Hebrew. Rakem or Rikum. Right? Meaning you do it again. This right here, Rish, to do it again. It's got the 20. What is 20 linked to? Duality. If I go to the numerology calculator and we open up the Chaldean here and we type in the word Re, you're going to see that it's a 7, but it's a 2 and a 5. And 2 and 5 is Exodus 13 verses 12. 13 verses 12 is going to give us 25, right? 25. This is the scripture, Exodus 13 verses 12, that talks about the womb being opened, and the word Re, to do it again, is a 2 and a 5. Not on accident here. Not on accident. 7 colors of the rainbow, etc., etc. And the word 7 is 24. And 24 is tied to chromium. 24 hours in the day to redo it again, to redo it again, to redo it again. Right? And the duality is 20. And in duality, you have what's called a birthday, where you celebrate being a human being that's made up of matter. And this word, Re, starts off with the 20th letter, Rish. You see the connections here, ladies and gentlemen? And this obviously has the Hey, the Heth, or the Chet, and that's the number 8. So you go down into duality, you go into the prison, and you will die, because 13 is the death card, which is the Mem. You will die on the motherboard. That's what I feel this whole thing means. And of course, the 41, the root of the 41 for matrix and womb and Elohim, let us make man in our image, becomes the number 5. 41 is a 5, a root 5. And 5 is your 5 fingers, 5 toes, 5 senses. If you look on your dial pad or your calculator, the number 5 sits in the very middle. If you write an X over the top of that, it's the bullseye, the bullet point. 5 is your identification, your ID. There's just so many layers with the number 5. And even when I say the number 5 through Chaldean numerology, you're going to get that 20 again. 5. So if you want to have an ID, can I see your ID, please? You're going to move into duality, which is a 20, and where you play out your 5 fingers, 5 toes, 5 senses, where you become matter, and you have a birthday every year, right? 20. You can see how all this is connected. It's so amazing, actually. So this is where the 5 goes, and this is where it gets super interesting. See, the 5 is tied to the letter He in Hebrew. And this is the window. I have it up here, a snippet of it, kind of the esoteric about this and where it came from. And you can see it's like the character, you and I tried to get the image as best as I could. See, I feel like this is let us make man in our image, and it's the sons of God or God looking through all of our lives. You're going to be on one of these screens. These are all the reality shows of our reality. Your life is going to be in one of these window screens. And you see, it's the sons of God or God itself looking through the window. The He, the 5. This is the 5th letter in the Hebrew alphabet from the Torah. There are 5 books in the Torah, folks. And it leads to the I am. See, I did the conversion for fun. I went to the conversion, and I'd encourage you to do the same thing. Go type in from an English to a Hebrew conversion. You're on television. Type it all out. You're on television, and you know what you're going to get? This, 95. And that's the element, the am. So it's the I, the sons of God, God itself, spirit becoming the am through the window. It's looking through the screen at you and I. And this is why this is the matrix. This is the womb right here. And then, of course, we have our womb. You females have the womb. You give birth, and out pops another kid, and now that kid's looking through the windows of their eyes, and now they become somebody who's attached to this reality. It's the I am, ladies and gentlemen. And this is tied to, when you reduce it down, the 5. The 95 becomes the 5. When you reduce it down into single digits, it becomes the number 50. And you know what the 50 is? It's the Tin Man. You're on television. You're looking for love. You're looking for your heart. You're looking for experiences, etc., etc. But it's not you looking. It's whatever's using you. That's what this story is alluding to. As you go down into the matrix, as you're born into this matrix, as you're born from the womb of your mother, you're now a player character, or I would even say you're a non-player character, being controlled by the control room above, right? So this is the 5 books of the Torah. The Torah only has 5 books, 5 fingers, 5 toes, 5 senses. Is tied to the letter He right here. He is the window right here. It's the window. And that equals the number 5 in its reduction. And when you convert the 5 books of the Torah into English and throw it into the Chaldean, well, you get the number 109. Now, this is absolutely fascinating because the 109 in mathematics is a prime number. It's the 29th prime number. Now, remember the word, just to go and refresh your memory here, this. To become lukewarm. I don't want to play anymore, right? Well, it's tied to the 109. I don't want to be looking for any love anymore. My heart. Is that even a thing? The 5. I don't want to use my senses anymore. I don't want to play anymore. Well, that's tied to lukewarm. And the 29, is that a prime number? It sure is. It's the 10th prime number. And what's the 10th letter in the Hebrew alphabet? The Yud, the Yod, the joystick, the controller, and the tarot to give us the picture. You're on the samsara wheel, ladies and gentlemen. I am on the samsara wheel. The samsara wheel is one of these screens. One of these screens is going to be your life. It's always been your life. You're being watched. You've been being watched your entire life. And this means possession. I've already gone over the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh. This is a screenshot from the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh Decoded. And it bears the resemblance of the apostrophe in the English language. And the apostrophe means possession. So I feel like this just may be the way it works, is that the God, or the sons of God, they're attached to the game of life. And this is us. And they're looking through the hay. They're looking through the 5, the window at us. And they're watching us like this. And you're on the wheel, spinning the wheel to determine your fate. 10 is the binary number. Think about that one. That the 5 books of the Torah, when you convert it into the English, end up becoming the 109, which reduces down to the 29, which reduces down to the number 10. And the 10 is the 0 and the 1, and that's the binary number. And if I just go here and I type in 0 and 1, you're going to get that 38. And what's that 38 tied to? Come back up here. 38 is right here. The males, the firstborn, the Daleth, the doorway, the womb, the matrix. Are you seeing this? And having a partnership. Having a partnership in the duality. Are you seeing these numbers? These are humdinger numbers, ladies and gentlemen. And the 38 reduces down to the number 2. And 2 is going to give you that number 17. And 17 is the star card in the tarot. So you become the star here. 17. And even 17, ladies and gentlemen, is tied to this word right here. You become an angel. You become a fallen angel. That's what all this stuff it looks like here. So magnificent. So magnificent. So I feel like, and this is also looking like the number 9. The number 9 is tied to the word hell. Right? This is eerily similar to the apostrophe, which is similar to the number 9. And 9 is repeat. It repeats everything. We've already talked about the word matrix, which starts off with rish, right? We've already kind of talked about that. So we continue on here to give you some more images. I thought these came out kind of cool, right? It's the God watching you as the character. And, you're on television through Hebrew, through the conversion of English into Hebrew. And again, be a skeptic. Go do the conversion yourself. This is what you're going to come up with. It will reduce down to the root number of 5. You go put that into the tarot to get the picture. And you get the Hierophant. And Hierophant is a fancy word for guru. It's the sun becoming. Spirit into matter. And this is where you're going to get the Neo character from. Neo is 17. Neo is 17. Angel is 17. The word story is 17. The word life is 17. And the word matrix is 17. You become the Neo character on the screen. You're plugged in and you become a guru. You're the guru. You're spirit into matter. You're on television, the 5 fingers, 5 toes, 5 senses. And this is Hey, the 5th letter in Hebrew. This is the window right here, the screen that you're being watched through, the doorway, the womb, the matrix. Okay. So let's shift into some Theonumerology for this Exodus 13 verses 12. For the very first time, the word womb is mentioned very specifically. Womb, matrix, and possession, the firstborn males, of course, and the males are the sons of God, being controlled by the Lord, the Yod. And it's 13 verses 12, so here are the 12 chapters and each verse. And then we have to add in the 12 verses of Exodus verses 13. We're going to come over to the right side. We're going to use the trusty calculator here to do that. And I'm going to encourage you to fact check this. 22 all the way through to number 12, 13 verses, and there's the number that we get for the total. Now, this was absolutely massive because most of you should know what this 347 is, or this configuration of numbers. First and foremost, and remember, keep in the back of your mind, we're talking about opening the matrix. The very first time it's mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, in the Torah, is a total of 347 verses, folks. That's the freaking 69th damn prime number. And it's not a secret that the moon, through the ancient text, is tied to the portal. The womb being the moon, and this is why I would imagine on the Truman Show they had Christoph on the moon. The portal, watching you. You know, when you do lights, camera, action, the camera is tied to the word hell, right? The camera watching you. But the 347 being the 69th prime number, which is the yin yang, you open up the matrix, you go down into duality. That's what 69 is. Absolutely fascinating. And of course, when we bring in the elements on the periodic table that matches up with this, we get this element called selenium. Because, see, selenium is tied to the moon. The Greek goddess of the moon is Selene, and this is where you're going to get selenium. And why you can see this here is you can see that the tree of life, tree is 34, selenium has 34 protons, and tree of life is 80, and selenium has an isotope 80. And now you're talking about the portal to get in here. Think about what I'm showing you. All 13 chapters and all the verses added up come to a total of 347. And 347 is the 69th prime number, and 69 is tied to the moon. There's a big 69 right on the moon. You can't miss it. And the moon is tied to selenium, and selenium is tied to the tree of life. Think about that. The matrix, opening up the matrix for you to become part of the tree of life. And, you know, this has everything to do with it as well. I covered this in the Beast Part 2 Decoded. When you add up all 13 of the disciples, including Jesus, you get 374, which is tied to the 347. Okay? So the matrix and opening up that portal is tied to the stargate above. This is the stargate above. The 12, this is the zodiac, and the zodiac may just be tied to the sons of God. And the asteroids and the minor planets that are all part of these celestials. These are the zodiac signs. This is the zodiac, the great beast above. Absolutely it is. And this is why the 13 is so special, because there are 13 people at the table, not 12, there are 13. This is why you have the 13 signs, including Ophiuchus. Not 12, but 13, which is tied to Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer, the hidden one. All right. So let's get into the final and last topic for this presentation now. It's called 25 cents. 25 cents. And we're going to start. I'm going to go back to the Exodus 13 verses 12. And we're just going to simply add up the chapter and verse. What's 13 plus 12? 25. And this is where I've talked about this, you know, growing up as a kid, may or may not be for you, but growing up as a kid, I went to the arcade and I couldn't wait to have a pocket full of quarters because the quarter was what needed to slide through the slot to play the game. And when the game ended, you had to put another quarter in and you got addicted to it. And there's been a lot of things talking about the as above is addicted to playing this game called life. And in this instance, the soul below, we play the video games. Now we're just hitting play again, try again, try again. But when you went to the arcade, you put the quarter in the slot to start the game up. So this slot right here is the womb. Absolutely, this is the womb, the matrix. And so when this says when you want to open up the matrix, when you slide a quarter in that slot, the game starts. Do you want to play again? Slide a quarter in the slot, and now it goes through the womb, and now the game starts up. The quarter is what instigates the game. And it just so happens that this book in the Torah, in the second book of the Torah, meaning duality, meaning the binary system, adds up to the number 25. Well, it goes even deeper than that because, ladies and gentlemen, we have the word fallen. Fallen is 25. When you slide a quarter into that slot, it has to fall down into the whatever it does. It goes down. It has to go down. Gravity has to take it. When you put a quarter in the machine, it has to go down. It has to go down in order for the thing to work, to turn the game on. And so what is that saying in the so below? Well, the game starts. In the as above, the angel has to come through the portal and become a fallen one to play the game of life. The fallen, the quarter. So the verse and chapter add up to 25. The first time talking about the matrix, the womb being opened, and then the possession comes in because any of the firstborn males become possession of the Yod or God or Theos, however you want to say it, the fallen. And I mean, is this what it looks like? Are we just inside of a video game being played? I mean, we play video games, we watch television. Why would we think it's any different? Why would we think it's any different, ladies and gentlemen? So I've had these drafted up here and the portal to give you the idea that just maybe this is the way the as above, so below works. And the angel has to be one of the fallen to come play the game. And this is the sons of God taking the wives and marrying them and making children. Right? So to get to the tail end of this, we're going to bring the tarot into this to give us the picture. And 13 verses 12 is Exodus, talking about opening the matrix. And 13 plus 12 is 25. And the 25th card in the tarot is the Three of Wands. And this card, the keywords at the bottom of this is adventure, journeys, try again, going on an adventure. Remembering that this Three of Wands, tied to the fallen now, is tied to the Three of Clubs. And this Three of Clubs is not only Thomas John Ellis's birth card, who was born on November 17th. Remember, 17 is Matrix. Okay? And 16 is Hell. And this is the Game Master card in Alice in Borderland because it's going on an adventure. So if you want to come down and play the game, you're going on an adventure. And this is where you're going to get Westworld from and all these stories. And that's tied to the word lust. Because the desire is the lust. The lust is a normal word used for sexuality, but lust is another word for desire. So when you want to create a business, you're using your sexual energy, your mojo, but you're not using it to get off. You're transmuting it into creating something with your mind and your hands. When you go deeper beyond the sexual normalities of this word, lust is not just a sexual word. It represents going on an adventure, creating an adventure. This is why Alice in Borderland, and I'm not saying they're the authority. This is why this is tied to Lucifer. Thomas John Ellis having this as his birth card, tied to the story of the males, the sons of God, lusting after the desire of wanting to have sex with those women to make babies. That's where that story fits into all of this. And they had to open the matrix to do that. But you can see in that scripture, it says, if you open the matrix and you go down, or you become a human being, you're going to be property of the Lord. No matter what, right? And you got to put a quarter into the machine to play. That's what the 25 cents involves. And you can see how it all fits. That a simple layer of playing a video game from the 1980s, 1970s, when they became popular. Remember, the 1980s is really when arcades became popular, and 80 is tied to the Tree of Life. So these are all huge clues. The 1980s, as a child, me growing up, as a teen, this is when the arcades became very popular. The movie Tron came out in 1982. 82 is lead, getting stuck in the video game. They opened the matrix. They got stuck inside the matrix. Is that what this whole thing's all about? Maybe. And remembering that lusting over the women is just the desire to play the game. Okay? Because they sexualized it. I get it. But that's what that means. And when you bring this into numerology and you could see that it says insert coin to play. I remember looking at these. They all had this. This was default on these video games. Insert coin to play is the number 60. And all we got to do is go to numerology and you can see that head of the snake is the number 60. You see? 60. And when you play that game, if you go to the tarot, when you insert the coin to play, this is what will happen to you. You will positively die. A physical death. Because your spirit is no longer, and this is in the as above, the representation of the as above, insert the coin to play. You can play, but you will die. You will face a physical death. Now, you might get reincarnated and you may never get out of this reality. And that may just be the reason why the serpent in Genesis told Eve, you positively will not die. But clearly these are very big humdingers. You can see like the breakdown of this. Insert is 20. That's duality. Duality, coin represents hell. The word hell is 16. Here it is. The coin represents the adventure. You can see it's 16, right? The coin that you slide in this matrix, this womb, you become the adventurer. The coin becomes the lust, the desire. If you're at an arcade as a young kid, you're pumped up. You got a pocket full of quarters. You got hours of playtime. Every time you slide a quarter through that womb, through that matrix, you get to fulfill your lust. In this case, when you're a kid, you're not sexually lusting after. You're just the desire. Your mojo is focused on the game. I remember as a kid, and maybe you did too, your desire is focused on, I want to play the game. Oh my God, I want to play. I remember playing Asteroids and Donkey Kong and, all these games. Pole Position and all these games I used to play. I didn't want to stop playing them. I had the lust of the video game. So the word lust is sexualized, but when you remove the sexual endeavors of this, it becomes the coin, folks. To go slide it into the slot. This is the vagina. To make the game play again. In order for this game to continue to move, a penis needs to go into the vagina. And the penis needs to ejaculate to create a baby inside the vagina, to create an offspring so the game can continue to go. Are you seeing this? I hope so. Not to get sexual. I'm not sexualizing this. I'm giving an example that is tried and true with this little example of insert coin to play. This is the vagina, folks, in a video game. And the quarter is the penis. And in order for the game to play, you got to slide the coin, which is the desire to play the game. And, it's interesting because when you continue on with these, you can see that the word quarter, some of you caught this, the quarter is the 21. So when you slide the quarter to play the game through the desire, you now move into the portal through the world card. This portal is this, right? The quarter goes through the slot, and now you become a player character on the world stage. And even when you say 25 cents, it gives us a huge clue. It becomes the 65, the 65th card in the tarot is the Ace of Pentacles. And there's the quarter right there on the card. This is also tied to the Eucharist, if you've been paying attention. So the Eucharist is the quarter in the church, and the quarter is used to play a video game. The Eucharist is designed to continually give you the option to play. Being born again, doing these rituals in the church, the Eucharist is the quarter. In the video game, in the game of life, it represents a different thing. But this is absolutely massive here. Giving us the story of how all this stuff works. And it's for the love of the game. You see, this is the love card. I loved to play Donkey Kong. I love playing Asteroids. I love playing Tempest and Pole Position and all these games. I loved playing them. I couldn't get enough when I was a young kid. That was my sex. And maybe it was yours too, right? To go open the matrix and whatnot. So, ladies and gentlemen, to finish this decode off, I'm going to go back to the matrix and the origination of the word, and it matching the Elohim. And the Elohim is, let us make man in our image so we can go down through the womb and play the game. And you can see that it ties right into mathematics, 41 being the 13th prime number and 13 being tied to the word play. But of course, it's you're playing to the death because 13 is the death card. So playing the game is tied to insert coin to play. And the coin is thrown in by the Elohim. Play again, game over, try again, try again, try again. Do you want to try again? Already covered that in my game over, try again. This is how it works. That is my truth. This is what these stories mean. And this is how it all lines up. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I would love to hear what you saw, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your comments coming. Don't be shy. If you see something that I didn't come up with, and a lot of you have brilliant observation skills, throw a comment down there. You know, a lot of times they get sparked by your comments. So if you see something, put it in the comments and away we go. So ladies and gentlemen, that was it. Theological Matrix Decoded. That's all I got for today. My name is Logan for Decode Your Reality. Until next time, we will see you later.